What's going on, everyone? So, the other day, the Lakers officially announced the coaching staff centered around J.J. Redick. You have J.J. Redick, Nate McMillan, Scott Brooks, Bob Byers, Greg St. John, as well as Lindsey Harding and Bo Lisque. And Michael Wexler is going to be the head video coordinator. So I wanted to kind of break this down because I haven't really, even when they made the announcement stuff, I kind of just threw out the names. I really wanted to kind of take the time to kind of go through the coaching and kind of relay my thoughts and opinions on this coaching staff because I'm actually very excited and pumped about this coaching staff. One of the big problems we had was with Darvin Ham, but also just the coaching staff in general. I just think that this is a much better unit. But few things. So J.J. Redick on his Lakers coaching staff, through an intentional and thorough process, we've brought together an experienced, diverse, and dedicated coaching staff. Our goal from day one is about fostering a high-performing environment for player development and team alignment through relentless work, daily collaboration, and innovation. Players and staff are here to enjoy the pursuit of excellence every time they step on the court. The expectations are clear, and my staff and I are committed to doing everything we need to do to ensure success at the highest level. So starting with JJ, I'm not going to go too much into JJ specifically as a head coach, just because I've done it so much. I've talked heavily about JJ Redick in regards to my thoughts on his coaching. But a couple things that about the staff in general with JJ. I love that JJ understands the situation that he's in and went and got as much experience and just brain trust as possible, right? He even said himself, he's never been a head coach, right? He needs to have the people around. And that's how you have the most success, right? You put the people around you that are good or understand the things that you don't quite understand yet, right? JJ Redick, he can do the X's and O's. We've seen him be able to do that. He can handle the media. We've seen him be able to do that. He can handle the players. We've seen him be able to do that, right? He's a guy that's going to have the respect and demand the respect, right? Kind of can come across a little, people call it unprofessional at times. Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that guy that's, off the cuff and, not afraid to just say what's on his mind, right? Where, you look at Darvin Ham at times and it was almost like, he's a car salesman or, like a politician or something. He's just kind of like out there just, JJ's just to the point. Like, hey, and he understands that like he needs the hand holding, right? But also it's to create an infrastructure. It's to lay a foundation for not only now in the future. Obviously, there will be different iterations of JJ's coaching staff, I'm sure, over the years, if JJ has the success and the longevity, which is the goal, right? That's why the Lakers wanted JJ, because he is young enough to where he could be our head coach for the next 20 plus years, if it works out, right? I don't want to get that far ahead, but that's the goal, is that, every 2 years, we're not trying to find a new head coach. The Lakers really want to build some stability, and they want to build that infrastructure, that culture, that environment. And JJ has made that very clear. And you can tell by the hirings, right? You can tell by the people that JJ has brought on to his staff. He brought them on for that purpose. So starting with, Nate McMillan and Scott Brooks. He didn't just get one guy. He got multiple guys. Darvin Ham never had head coaching experience. He had assistant coaching head experience. But he was so confident and was not willing to get past his ego that he refused to hire an experienced head coach. And the plan originally was to bring in an experienced head coach. The plan was to have that guy alongside Darvin Ham to help him in his first few years as a head coach. And guess what? Darvin Ham didn't want that. Darvin Ham didn't want that head coach. He wanted to do it himself, and he wanted his guys. And now he's back to being an assistant coach for the Milwaukee Bucks. So guess what? Didn't work out. JJ not only said, do I need one head coach? I need two. And that's what I love about bringing in Nate McMillan, bringing in Scott Brooks. However you feel about them as former head coaches and stuff, it's about bringing the different perspectives. Like JJ said, I want a collaborative effort. I want guys and innovation and us, the meeting of the minds. I talked about that heavily. Is that before all the hirings of the coaching staff, one of the things that I talked about is the Lakers really need to put the brain trust around JJ Redick. They need to have the multiple perspectives and minds all coming together, right? Like, look at the 2020 coaching staff. You had Frank Vogel, you had Lionel Hollins, you had Jason Kidd, you had you had several guys, or Phil Handy. There we go. You had several guys, that one of which is actually returning from that staff, and we'll touch on him here in a moment. But you look at that staff, and it was several different guys that all bring different perspectives, different types of game, like defensive minded, offensive minded. Like Lionel Hollins was the defensive guy. You look at Jason Kidd was the offensive guy, right? Jason Kidd was also the guy that could relate and talk to the player. Like you go down, Phil Handy was the development guy, right? And adding Scott Brooks and Nate McMillan give you two different perspectives, give you two different offensive and defensive outlooks that can come together and try to mold and shape what the Lakers are trying to find, right? I love that they brought in Nate McMillan and Scott Brooks. Like, I love it because, again, it's two former head coaches that, had some success. Don't get me wrong, they had their ups and downs, but they did both have some success, and both had good defensive seasons, good offensive seasons. Both have, relationships with players and all that. Like, both of these guys, I believe, are going to come in and just give a completely different look beyond what JJ is going to provide. Now, and if JJ really is as open as he seems to be, which is something that I've talked about, I believe is a strength with JJ. Because he's not set in his ways. Like Darvin Ham was set in his ways. He wanted things the way he knew how to do it, and that was it. And he couldn't get away from it, right? I talked about it all the time. Like, Darvin Ham was fine as long as he could stay in his box. As soon as he had to leave his front porch, that was it. It was a whole new world to him that he never experienced, right? And JJ seems like a guy that is open and willing to adjust and do what's necessary to win, right? Hey, this isn't working. Let's switch this up. Okay, let's go over here. Okay, no, that's not working yet. Let's go over here. Okay, maybe this way, maybe a combination of this and this, right? And boom, there it is. Let's go win a championship, right? That's the idea. And then just, again, bringing in multiple guys and women too. I mean, Lindsey Harding, right? She is, again, excellent. G League Coach of the Year. You watch some of the tape. You watch just the way she was with her players. She was fantastic. She was phenomenal. Like, seriously, they loved her. Loved her. She got so much praise. She understands the game, right? She brings, again, another perspective that no one else brings. I love this hiring. I love everybody that the Lakers brought on. Like, genuinely, I think each person that they brought on will have their specific role. Lindsey Harding is going to be excellent in player development and just communicating with the players. Like, that's one of her real strong suits, is just the communication, right? So to have her on the bench that's going to be able to relate and speak and, get her point across and, again, demand that respect from the players. I think you add her, you add Scott Brooks, you add Nate McMillan, right? You're adding these coaches that just, they have the pedigree and they have the things that you want, and each one has that specific tool that you're adding to the toolbox, right? And that's what it's about. It's about having the different tools at your disposal to be able to use for any job that comes on the horizon. And I think adding Lindsey Harding really does just open the possibility and potential for, again, player development. Like, the Lakers want to really hit home on just developing the players and, building that program for just the young guys. And I really think Lindsey is going to do an excellent job in that regard. The G League players loved her, and she did a hell of a job. It wasn't just that like, oh yeah, we just liked the coach, but she wasn't good. No, she was great. Right? So not only did the players enjoy playing for her, but they also enjoyed the way that she operated and ran the game. And they had success and they were winning. Right? Like, again, give me that. Give me as much as you can of that. Right? And then, again, to keep bringing in these various pieces and players and stuff, right? Like, so, get Bob Byers, right? Bringing in Bob Byers, yes, he doesn't have the head coaching experience, but he has over a decade of assistant coaching experience and has been an assistant coach for several teams and has been, very sought after by teams. Right? He's a guy that has the understanding, again, the communication, gives different perspectives, gives different looks, has worked under various coaches that now he can kind of take a little bit from each of them and add that to, again, the stew. It's just adding more tools into the arsenal. He's going to be able to help with player communication, player development, film, all of those things, right? Like, this is a guy that, again, can really kind of, you have essentially you have JJ, who is the head coach. Then you have your two main assistants, which are Nate McMillan and Scott Brooks. Then you have Bob Byers, who he's coming in and just, again, giving you that different look, giving you that different perspective as an assistant coach. Then Lindsey Harding, she's coming in to help, again, be an assistant, but also for the player development side, player communication side, right? So you have each piece that has a role and a purpose, like a real role and purpose, not just like, no, Bob Byers has a very rich history in this league. I mean, again, his first stint was with the Orlando Magic in 2003, and he's had several teams over the course of the years, and he keeps getting those consistent jobs. Why? Because he is good at it. You don't have that longevity and get to play for that many different, or not play, but work under that many coaches and all, if you don't have the skills to do so. Eventually, you're just going to fade out. This is a guy that he's just not going to fade out, in my opinion. And again, does another job. And then lastly, you get into kind of like the other young guys that are going to play a role in development. Right, so like Greg St. John, right? He was part of the 2020 staff, so he's familiar with these players. He's familiar, well, not all of them, but like, LeBron, AD, right? He's familiar with the two stars. Let me rephrase that, right? Comes from and is going to give the perspective for the defensive side of things, right? He also understands the offensive side of things, right? Gives you a nice balance, right? He worked under Frank Vogel. He worked under Jason Kidd, but he's also a guy that, again, is going to be able to help with development. He's excellent in just communication, going over film. He's going to be probably one of the big pieces in just challenging calls and stuff like that. He gives a very unique perspective to the game that is the reason why he's been able to have the success so early on, right? And he wanted to stay with the Lakers, right? But again, Darvin Ham, he kind of went his own route, and then he ends up going to Dallas with Jason Kidd, and then back with Frank Vogel in Phoenix, and then Vogel ends up being out, and lo and behold, Greg St. John, he's back, right? And he was a guy that the Lakers did like, and the Lakers did enjoy, and the players liked, and the players really enjoyed. And then lastly, the Lakers brought in Bo Lisque. He was the former, now, assistant development coach for the Los Angeles Clippers, and he's young, 33 years old, and he was looked at as the next, like, rising player development guy. He was looked at as like, hey, this guy is going to be the next great thing. I know a lot of people really wanted Phil Handy back, but Phil Handy felt slighted by the Lakers numerous times because he thought he deserved an opportunity to be a head coach, which the Lakers were not interested in. Again, we don't know this for certain, but just kind of based on reports. And then also he's kind of, talked about going and doing other things. And he's still doing his camps and all that stuff. Could he eventually find his way to the staff? Maybe gives it a little time. Maybe he goes, does his own thing for a little bit. Sure. But the whole point was they let him go so that way he could go find better opportunity elsewhere. And then they could always bring him back if they wanted. But now they brought in Bo, who, again, he's a guy that is looked at as like, this is a guy that's going to really be able to help grow and develop our young players, help with the shooting, help with just watching film and tape and stuff, right? Again, the Lakers really are trying to build that infrastructure, particularly for the youth, particularly for the young guys, so that way the Lakers can really help them grow, develop, and be the best versions of themselves as possible. So I'm really excited about this staff, seriously. Really think we got the new Avengers of a coaching staff, and I'm really excited to see how good they look this upcoming season. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think, yes, Avengers coach staff is great, they A1? Do you think, they're kind of, we got to wait and see? Is there anybody specific that you like? Is there anybody specific that you don't? Is there anyone that you wish that they hired that they didn't? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.